Hello everyone and welcome to another most impressive game from the second day of the quarterfinals of the Aimchess US Rapid knockouts. It's Alireza Firouzja versus Wesley sorry, this is not from the second day, this is from the tie breaks. As you know, Alireza won the first match, then Wesley retaliated in the second match, and now this is the tie breaks. In tie breaks, we are no longer in Rapid. We are playing Blitz Chess, 5 minutes plus 3 seconds increment, and this is game 2 of their match. So 2 games are played, and then if both games end in a draw, or if each player wins one, then we go into Armageddon. So in the first game where Wesley had the white pieces, the game ended in a draw. Now Wesley has the black pieces, and let's see what happened here. So Firouzja with the white pieces opens with e4. We have e5 by Wesley, knight f3, knight to f6 going for the Petrov's defense, and knight captures on e5. We have d6 challenging the knight, so this is the classical variation of the Petrov, and knight back to f3. In his younger days, Alireza would probably go for knight captures on f7, and a lot of strong players have played it. Morozevich had some very, very impressive results with this early sacrifice, because you do get 2 pawns. But here we have knight to f3. It would be maybe a bit suicidal to try this against Wesley. Knight captures on e4, and now there are, again, a lot of possible moves here. Knight to c3, d4, queen e2, all very good ideas, but here we have bishop to d3, and it seems kind of weird placing your bishop like this, so you can't develop your d pawn. But white has plans in the future. In the future, the bishop will either retreat to e2, or you can maybe play c3, bishop c2, or you're just gonna capture the knight, just trade on e4, and that's how you're gonna get your d pawn up the board. So here we have d5 by Wesley defending the knight, and now queen e2. Attacking the knight one more time. So Wesley defends, queen to e7, and here Alireza just castles. We have knight back to d6, Wesley offers a queen trade, and Alireza declines it, he goes back, queen to d1. Now the rook is coming to e1, so Wesley also moves his queen back, so queen back to d8. We have rook to e1 check, bishop to e7, and now knight to c3. For the moment, black can't really castle because the d5 pawn is hanging, so c6 defending this pawn, and now there are a couple of games where queen to e2 was played, just putting pressure on the bishop here, not allowing this king to just castle freely. But here we have b3, and it is now only as of move 11 that we have a completely new game. So let's see how Wesley continues. We have castles, and now bishop to a3. Putting more pressure here on black's position. If the knight now moves, you're going to lose this bishop here. So bishop to g4, pinning the knight here, and now h3, challenging this bishop. We have bishop to h5, and now queen to e2, attacking the bishop on e7. And here's a moment where you could easily go wrong. Rook to e8 seems like a perfectly normal move, just aligning the rook with the queen, getting the rook away from the f8 square. But it doesn't really work, because here white has queen to e5. And there's a problem now. Your bishop is hanging, and also bishop captures on d6. Bishop captures, queen captures here could be very bad for black. So here you don't really have anything better than bishop captures on f3. And after bishop captures on d6, we go into this forced line. Knight to d7, you have to connect your rooks. And now bishop captures on e7, knight captures on e5, bishop captures on d8, rook a captures on d8, and now you're gonna give up the rook for 2 pieces. Rook captures, and of course g captures on f3. And after all is said and done, white will have 2 pieces for the rook and enjoy a better game. So Wesley, of course, after queen to e2 does not go wrong. He plays bishop to f6, just gets his dark square bishop out of harm's way, and now queen to e3. A lot of moves with the queen from Alireza. We have rook to e8 now, attacking the queen, and queen to f4 now with a double attack on this knight here. And here, a very, very critical moment. Wesley has to play knight to e4. It's a pawn sacrifice, but you have to do it. And we would see something like bishop captures, d captures. We're gonna see rook captures, knight captures, and the game now. Sorry, not knight captures, queen captures, and the game now continues. We don't want to blunder our rook. So this is probably what's best for black. Continuing with knight to a6 and then trying to develop the knight this way. However, Wesley played rook captures on e1, and again, it seems like such a normal move, but it loses the game. Such is the way of chess. So Alireza, of course, captures back. There's nothing better. We have rook captures on e1, and now Wesley's knight is still hanging, so you have to move it. You can't really defend it. If you play something like bishop to e7, we again try queen e5 with a double attack here, and after bishop to f8, trying to save one of the bishops. If you try bishop captures on f3, it's really not much better. Just queen captures on e7, and again your bishop is hanging and your queen is hanging. So let's say captures, and you can't save the bishop because, well, then the knight is hanging, so everything is hanging here. So you'd have to try something like bishop to f8, but then we of course just checkmate the black king. Bishop captures on h7, king captures, queen captures on h5, king g8, and knight g5. We're gonna now checkmate the black king. So after this rook captures on e1, Wesley plays the only move left for black, that is knight to e8, but now comes the idea that, it seems like Alireza had it prepared before the game. I could be wrong, but it seems like, such a powerful opening idea, and, just completely annihilating your opponent without much trouble, as it would seem. I think it was prepared. Like I said, I could be wrong. But feel free to pause the video and try to find this idea while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting that, I don't know, how do you even spot this, that the f8 square is available for the white queen. That's the good stuff. By bringing the knight to e8, Wesley disconnected the queen's defense of the f8 square. And now Alireza plays g4. You could play queen to b4 right away, but g4 is the more precise idea. So if you found this, you obviously should be rated at least 2700. So here, bishop to g6, you have nothing better. Here, Alireza just trades, captures, and now queen to b4. And now there's a problem. The b7 pawn is hanging, but also queen to f8 check followed by rook captures here is coming. So what can Wesley do? The only move is knight to d7. We have to defend this square, and we have to give up this pawn. Two of the lesser evils. Queen captures on b7, now attacking the c6 pawn, and Wesley just defends it. And now knight to a4. So now we're having very nice control of the c5 square, and if the knight moves, then we're just going to play Tsar knight on c5, and we're just going to have a much better position, being up material. And you don't have a good move here with black. To give you an example, if you try something like g5, which makes sense as white wants to push g5 himself at some point, we would see bishop b4, going for bishop to a5. And now let's say knight b6, knight to c5. This is now just a beautifully placed knight, and after knight to d6, attacking the white queen. Queen back to a6, now we can shift the queen back, we can do pretty much anything, but we're just better, and well, this is one way to do it. Wesley doesn't like this. Wesley wants to activate his position. He plays knight to c7, and he starts sacrificing even more pawns. We have queen captures on c6. Now comes knight to e6, opening up a discovery here. Queen captures on d5, and now rook captures on c2. So here Wesley is down 2 pawns, but he has a very active rook, and he's gonna collect at least one more pawn. So here bishop back to d6. The bishop will come under attack after the rook captures on a2. But now Wesley does not capture on a2. First, he plays knight d to c5. Now saying that, okay, the bishop cannot capture because your queen on d5 is undefended. And Alireza doesn't want to trade or, just allow Wesley to activate his pieces, so he brings the knight back. Knight to c3, and now the rook can't really do anything, so Wesley has to give up his dark square bishop to weaken some pawns. So here we have bishop captures on c3, d captures on c3, and now Wesley doesn't want to capture a pawn here. You could play rook captures on c3, and although white is still better, white would have to really figure out how to go about this position. Rook to d1 is one such idea, bringing the knight to e5, and then continuing with rook to d1, also an idea. But here, instead of this rook capture, Wesley played knight to f4. It's a straight out sacrifice. The knight here is hanging. You can't capture with the bishop, you have to capture with the queen, but he wants to play knight captures on h3 with check, and then also pick up the f2 pawn, and if possible even the g3 pawn. So this is definitely worth a knight on c5. So Alireza accepts this. We have queen captures on c5, knight captures on h3 with check. We've reached the position from the thumbnail. King to g2, and now knight captures on f2. Not only going for the pawn here, you could capture with the rook, but then the knight just hangs. So here knight captures on f2, now threatening some very nasty discoveries, like knight here with check will pick up the queen. So king to g3, stepping out of the discovery, and also guarding against knight captures on g4. And now Wesley brings the queen into the attack. Queen to d7, hones in on that g4 pawn. and Alireza defends it, just queen to d4. And now Wesley has to figure out how to continue this attack, otherwise he's just down material, and it's not gonna be good. And if he loses this game, it's Alireza who's off to the semifinals. So queen to c6, now putting pressure on this pawn here. There's really nothing better here, but bishop back to f4. And now the problem is Wesley can't even capture this pawn, because if rook captures, then the knight hangs, and if you try queen captures on c3, you get checkmated. Queen to d8 check, king h7, now queen to h4 check, king has to go to g8, and the rook to e8 will of course be checkmate. So after bishop to f4, Wesley brought the queen back. We have queen to c8, again going for that g4 pawn, but now Alireza takes care of this threat by introducing a terrible threat, and that is bishop to d2. So now the queen guards against this queen captures on g4 idea, and also the rook's defense of the knight is now disconnected. There's nothing for black to do here. The knight is trapped, you can't save it, and that's it. It was in this position on move 33 that Wesley So resigned the game, and with it just the match. So took Alireza a lot. Like I said, he won the first match, lost the second one, and then it took tie breaks to beat Wesley, but he is now in the semifinals, and here are the current standings. As you can see, Firouzja will face Vladislav Artemiev in the semifinals, and Magnus will face Levon Aronyan. So we're gonna have a very, very enjoyable day. There we have it. That's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Really a wonderful one, and it's really awesome how early you can go wrong. I mean, Alireza just prepared this extremely well. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Hayden Queenie, Aditya Parasarati, Christoph Alexander Sopa, Tom Derolo, and CakeDeFi.com for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. With this contribution, CakeDeFi.com becomes the top contributor to the channel. And as they say on their website, you can do some liquidity mining, staking, lending, but also just put your cryptocurrencies to work. So there we have it. As usual, you can check two of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of this wonderful event, checking up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.